definitely something good to know exactly where the process is coming from and be able to fire out an answer.
My name is Lou Broden with GPI, consulting engineering firm up in Rockford. The idea today is just to go through some of the things that we see as that cost money that sometimes aren't necessarily seen initially on projects. Basically, the agenda is we're going to give a real quick overview of HVAC system. The only thing you need to know is that 1 ton is 12,000 BTUs and a watt is 3.4 BTUs. Okay, so you can convert it. And this is a typical building. Okay, if you're looking down at the plan. Okay, so it's a nice rectangular square building looking down from the sky. And what you have is you have a perimeter space and you have this core area. Basically, in the center core area, you always have to air condition. You always have to cool that center area because there's always people that are giving off heat. There's always lights, equipment. There's always things that are adding heat that you have to basically provide air conditioning for. Okay, so engineers put in basically some type of a chiller or a cooling system to help cool the space in that core area of the building. Okay, and that happens really all year round. And then in the wintertime, you basically have a loss. There's a loss that goes through your building, through the envelope of your building. You're always losing heat through your walls and windows and that kind of stuff. So engineers will put in basically a boiler or some type of heating system to offset the loss. Our job is to simplify what we do is we keep the temperature in the building constant all year round. Now we're going to talk about a ton of air conditioning. You guys have maybe heard an engineer say we need to add a 10-ton rooftop unit. We need to add a supplemental 10-ton system. Okay, so what is a ton of air conditioning? It's important you understand it a little bit because a lot of times people equate cost with tons of air conditioning. And we'll give you some rules of thumb for that as we go through. But sometimes it's like basically a ton of air conditioning costs $3,000 or what would happen. What's a ton? How do you even quantify it? So when you talk about tons and you talk about HVAC, it has nothing to do with weight, anything like that, right? It has to do with cooling capacity. There's basically a little equation that goes. The only thing you need to know is that 1 ton is 12,000 BTUs and a watt is 3.4. General HVAC system, the way that it works is basically you supply air. That cooled air basically gets heated up by all the things that are in the space. It returns back to the air handling unit and it goes through, it gets filtered, cleaned up, cooled down again and supplied to the space. So all it is just recirculating the air through the space. There's also this outside air component that you have to bring in. You have to bring in a certain amount of outside air by code. It's one of the biggest things that the code guys look at. They look at outside air, how you're providing proper ventilation for the space. What do the VAV boxes do? They basically reduce the amount of air that has to be supplied into the space. If I normally had to supply 1,000 CFM into here to keep it cool, a lot of times I don't have to provide 300 CFM. Well, if you can provide less, it saves energy. It's why push all that air into the space if you don't really need it? So VAV systems vary the volume of the air. VAV systems also important because each one of these has its own thermostat. Okay, so the more of these you have, the more thermostats you have, the more control you have. A ton of interest in the program, basically. The important thing to know, different levels of certification you can get to, right? By the number of points you get. It's on a 100-point scale. Architects contribute, engineers contribute, sometimes the civil guys contribute, so different people on the team contribute to get these points. The LEED program is very prevalent, it's very popular still, and that the engineering piece is a big part of getting the points. So you need to get your engineers involved early. Just at different times that we've gone out for a TJ to look at 3 different properties and be able to understand which credits and points you think you can get on each one of those properties. That kind of helps maybe a client make the decision as to which property to move